The promise of integration, the merger of humanity with the global information system, was immortality free of organic frailty. It delivered in its way. I closed my eyes and closed my ears and closed down my senses one by one. Awareness of my surroundings dripped away as I prepared for the transfer. Nodes linked, and the sensation of rushing through rapids overwhelmed me, becoming everything. My sense of self returned, flowing into the tranquil pool of my home node. I could feel millions of picodrones pouring from their storage pod and assembling into what once must have been a replica of me. The problem was, humans were never meant to be immortal. The AI solved that equation for us. "Mommy!" was the first sound I heard. I smiled as the last few picodrones smoothed into place. My daughter, Emily, created from my flesh and blood stored prior to my integration. Barely 4 years old, her curly brown hair bounced on her head as she ran toward me. I squatted down and gave her an enormous hug. She wouldn't be allowed to integrate until she turned 22, and only if she passed tests for neurological maturity and stability. I felt her tiny arms squeeze me as tight as she could. She rattled off a story about how the cat had gotten into a bag of cheese she left on the countertop. I almost loved her. "You're late," came the disapproving voice of Gerald, Emily's father. There was no affection between us. Everyone was required to raise at least one child per century or risk deletion. Gerald and I were contractually bound to raise Emily until she was either integrated into the system or enlisted into the maintenance corps. I had no preference in the outcome. Without another word, Gerald walked straight toward the storage pod. His form disintegrated into a cloud of pico-drones as they neatly stored themselves inside. Emily, her focus on me, continued with a tale about a preschool friend, but I had already divided my attention. I assigned an age-appropriate chatbot routine to care for Emily as the majority of my attention relays tapped into news feeds and I drifted across the social infosphere. Adult versions of the stories Emily prattled on about washed over me and kept me entertained as I fed her and put her to bed. Gerald arrived exactly on time the next morning, as pleasant as he was when he left. He gave Emily a contractually required hug. I did the same as my pico-drones prepared to store themselves, and I began closing down my senses. I was still aware of Emily's face, all pouty lips and wet, glistening eyes. "Do you have to go?" Her words barely registered. My chatbot assured her I did, and reminded her I would be back again tonight. My consciousness poured out of the room. The last of my awareness marveled at the glimmer of a tear as it fell down an adorable cheek. I would almost miss her,